Okay, so just now we learned how to write this form, the one given this form, a b to the power of x. We learned how to write that form into linear form, right? But what if we're given this instead? So let me write this. Y is equal to a x to the power of b, right? It's a small difference, but like in this one, b is the base and a is the power. But in this one, a is the base and b is the power. You might be like, but will it be the same thing? No, there's something you need to know, right? So we said that this one, let me just erase this. We said when we write this in linear form, this equation that we have on the board right now, I would get this, right? X log b plus log a. And we said that this here is y, this is m, this is x, and then this is c, right? But let me just erase this whole thing. When given this form, y is equal to ax plus, ax to the power of b, it's different, right? The linear form looks different. How exactly? Well, let me show you. Remember, the first thing you want to do is take log on both sides. So it was log of y is equal to log of ax to the power of b. Next thing you want to do is this, right? Let me use a different color. Remember, our aim is to get the uniform y is equal to mx plus c. The next thing you would do is this. Log of ax to the power of b can be rewritten as this. To the power of b, right? According to our law. But this is still not in the form y is equal to mx plus c. What can we do to write it in that form? Well, I can say log y is equal to log of a. Bring this across to get b log of x. Everybody found it so far?
Yes, miss.
Yes, we.
Okay. So looking at this, right? Looking at what we have here. So that's the linear form when we're given this, right? Y is equal to ax to the power of b. If I give you this example, this equation. This is just an example. Log of y is equal to okay. If I ask you in this case to identify what's the value of b, what would you tell me? Looking at this, can you tell me what b would be equal to? Just compare the both equations that you see on the board and tell me what b would be equal to.
2/5.
Minus 2/5. But yeah. And what would a be equal to?
2.
No. I said this is different.
What was the question? I was doing something about it.
I asked how would we find the value of a? What would be the value of a? notice in this one, you can just, unlike the other one where we had to take logs and all that to find for b, this one I could just look at both equations, compare it, and I could tell, okay, b is the number in front of log of x. Okay, b has to be minus 2/5. So I can just eyeball the both of them, compare it, and tell you what b is. However, it's not the same with a. Just like our other examples, I need to solve this log equation. Let me just erase this. So b, for this version, you could just eyeball it, compare your both equations, and you can tell what b is. But for a, you still have to take the logs, right? So log of a is equal to 2. What does that mean? If I write it in exponential form, 10 squared is a, and we know that 10 squared is 100. So a would be 100. So it's a small change, but you need to know, right? So one of them.
Wait, miss. Where you get 10? Wait. Oh,
Remember, when you see log by itself, understood that that base is 10. So it's a small change.
so it always equal 10.
Whenever you see log by itself, yes.
All right.
You have to assume that the base is always 10. Everybody good so far? How I found B and how I found A?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
So one of them you could just look at it and state what B is. But the other one you actually have to use log and solve that log equation. I just wanted to point that out to you, right? Okay, let's do this past paper now. Option. Okay, so remember I told you that they might actually require you to draw a graph. Not sketch. Draw a graph with graph paper. Of course, you can carry your own graph paper to the exam, right? Because you might cheat.
Like
don't know.
how much do you need? Like around 2 or 3?
What, you talking about graph pages?
What do you say?
What you talking about?
No, you say we have to bring graph to the exam.
No. You don't have
Oh,
no,
I thought that was it. That's what you said.
no. You would be required, well, you might be required to draw a graph. And I was saying, of course, you don't have to bring your own graph paper because, they don't know who might cheat. You might have a visitor work into the back of that paper and try to, you might have answers to the back of the paper and reading it off while trying to do the exam. That's, well, you can't have that, right? You can't have cheating. So they actually give you the graph page, the grid, and you have to use that grid, come up with your own scale. I never seen a question where they actually give you the scale, so you would have to come up with your own scale, and you would have to draw that graph using your best fit line and all that, right? Everybody knows what the best fit line is.
Oh, what?
Best fit line. Yes,
Or
miss.
line of best fit.
No,
think-
miss.
I think I did it in maths class
We
or
can say,
physics. I don't remember.
yes, physics
One of
students
those class.
would, yes, physics students would know what a line of best fit or best fit line is. But my non-physics students,
Physics students gonna get them.
what?
No, miss. I was saying physics. No, never mind, miss.
So Non-physics students, anybody does not know what a line of best fit or best fit line is? Girl, what is this girl? Hold on, I'm taking the one. I need to find the page. Right, anybody who was telling me they don't know what that line is?
Miss, I don't think I've heard that term before.
Yes, miss.
Wait. Oh,
Wait, what is it?
the best fit line or line of best fit.
Oh. Yeah.
So you never had to draw a graph, plot your points, and then draw a line. You know, sometimes it wouldn't go through all the points. You never had to do that?
Oh, yes, miss, but I never heard that term used for that before.
Well, yes, that's called the line of best fit or best fit line. My physics students would know that. If you're not doing physics, well, I'm not sure if you would know that. Wait, who was the other person who told me they don't know?
Oh, line of best fit line. I think it's on like a straight line or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a straight line.
Yeah,
Okay,
something like that. I don't remember.
we solved that question already. Bro, what is this question? Hold on. If you take note. Once you know how to identify Y, X, M, and C, you're good to go. So be able to write it in linear form and then identify what is Y, what is M, what is X, and what is C, to be good to go. Because we know when sketching a graph, you plot the Y, you plot Y on the Y axis, then you plot X on the X axis, right? So by being able to identify what M and X is, you'll be able to plot that graph. I need to show you. It's taking forever. So while we wait for this, everybody following so far? How to identify, how to write it in linear form and identify what Y, M, X, and C. Huh? Yeah,
Yes,
no?
miss.
That's one person. And this is the paper, by the way, 2017.
Miss, remember now the next half an hour I forgot everything.
Wait. Oh my gosh.
Need to practice.
Yes, practice. Practice makes perfect. Okay, so you would see questions like this. Use logs to the logarithms to reduce the equation to linear form. That's what we were doing just now, right? What you want to do, put logs on both sides of the equation, and then you look at your equation and you determine how am I going to simplify this to get it in the form y is equal to mx plus c. It becomes easier with practice, okay? Don't give up. That's very important. I remember when we were doing these graphs, so many people just gave up, you know? Don't do that. So this is what they gave us. That's the equation that they gave us. And they want us to write that equation in linear form. Remember, linear form, y is equal to mx plus c. Mx plus, oh gosh, that's the x addition sign, plus c. That's what they mean by linear form, right? You could just write down the year. This is question 2. C, no, that's question 1, C, part 1.
Miss, what's that, Miss? Y equal mx
Plus.
tc or
Plus.
plus that?
Plus C.
Is that a plus?
Yes, it's plus. plus C. Okay, so that's what they're asking you for, right? So you see, this is a 1 mark question. I showed you the long way, right? So take log on both sides and then simplify and all of that. But after practicing this for a while, so you see the two forms, y is equal to ax to the power of b and y is equal to ab to the power of x. You would look at what they gave you. So you would look at what they gave you, the equation that they gave you, and you would be able to tell whether this one applies. So y is equal to ab to the power of x. Is x the power or is x the base? That's what you would ask yourself, right? So you look at this, you notice x is the base, right? So you know you would use this one. After practicing this for a while, you would know. So when I did it with you, I told you that the linear form, when we write this one in linear form, we're going to get log of y is equal to b log of x plus log of a, right? So after practicing this for a while, you would actually know this, right? You would know this after a while of practicing. Not necessarily about memorizing it, but after a while of doing the same thing over and over again, you will remember it, right? So I know y is equal to ax to the power of b. When x is the base, this applies, right? This is what the linear form is going to look like. I see x in the base here. So how do I write this? This is going to look like log, that's my pen, log of p is equal to b, which is the power, is minus k log of x, and then a in this case is going to be, well, capital A. So yeah, you could do it the long way. What I mean by the long way, you see this equation, you take this equation, put the log on both sides, look at it, determine how you're going to write it in this form, or after practice, you would know whenever I see x in the base, this is what the linear form would look like, and you'll be able to write this quickly. That's why it's only 1 mark, right? They don't need to see you putting log on both sides and simplifying and all that. And rearranging. Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yes, miss.
Everybody understands how I got that? How I got this in blue? B is the power. In this case, minus k is equal. Can you see that? Right. Anyways, minus k is the power, so minus k go in there. Y comes log of y in this case p, so that's log of p. A is capital A, so that becomes log of A. After a while of practicing, it wouldn't be that difficult. Why is this one? Bruh. Anyways, everybody good with this?
Yes, miss, but how you get the K,
Oh,
miss? Is that a
K?
K? Yeah,
Yes,
that's
K.
the blue part.
Oh gosh, let me just erase or clear all of these things.
I understand the yellow part, but I don't. I know to get the P, but I don't see
Look,
where the K comes
look,
from.
the K
I
is in
see.
the power.
Oh. It's I never see.
Yeah.
I was on the how you get the K. I thought it was like. Never mind.
Okay, so you're good now, right?
Yeah, it's.
Okay, well, this question, see, using a suitable scale. So they expect you to come up with your own scale, plot the best fit line of the equation in C part 1 on the graph paper provided on page 9. Use the space below to show your working. What exactly do they mean by working? I'm plotting a graph. What are they talking about? Well, okay. Let me just show you the graph page that they give you. So this is the graph page. But let me, this is your graph. This is taking forever. This is your graph page. So usually what you do, you draw the graph portrait. The portrait looks like this, landscape. You rotate it to the side, right? But usually the graph is portrait. And like I said, once you know how to identify once you know how to identify Y, M, X, and C, this graph is nothing, right? So they want me to draw a graph. When drawing graph, we know that, well, I hope you know. If you don't know, just let me know, that's fine. When doing the graph, Y goes on this axis, the vertical axis, X goes on the horizontal axis, right? We said that the equation, the linear form, is this. That's the answer. Let me just write it in part A. So log of P is equal to minus K log of X plus log of capital A, right? We said this is the linear form. When plotting a graph, you need to be able to determine what you're going to plot on the y-axis, what you're going to plot on the y-axis, and what you're going to plot on this x-axis. And that is why it's really important for you to know how to identify y, m, x, and c. If I look at this, can anybody tell me what would be y, what would be m, x, and c? What is y? Looking at this right here. Anybody knows how to identify what? Okay. What is y?
P.
What?
Miss, what do you mean what is Y, miss? Like what should Miss, what do you mean by that, miss?
You know how I showed you?
Oh, you mean like on the graph?
Hold on. Oh gosh, wait. I did not mean to do that.
I think it would be P.
You identify y. You identify x. I mean mx and c. So I already did y for you. Y is log p, right? Gosh, hold on. Y is log p. So what would x be? Actually, no. What would m be? What would m be? Can anybody tell me what would m be? Gee. Well, that tells me something. You can't answer, then you probably don't understand. Why is this thing moving? Then you probably do. Let
Is
me
is
just
it minus K log?
minus A. Anybody agrees with that? Let me rewrite it because Anybody agrees with that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, we have two. Anybody else? If you don't agree with that, let me know what you think it is.
Yes, miss.
Okay. All right. So for all three of you, if I say, so remember when plotting a graph, right? It's y, all the y values go on the vertical axis, x goes on the horizontal axis, right? You're saying that this is y, and you're saying that this is x, right? So tell me, if if k, the value of k is 1, right? Just punch into a calculator, minus 1 log. Not log of minus 1, minus 1 log. And tell me what answer you get.
It's an error.
Exactly. Why is it an error though? Because you have to find log of a number. I can't just, not have that number. You find log of a number. So let me just put next thing. There has to be a number right there. I can't just find minus k log. Log of what exactly, right? So that's why I waited until now to show you this. In this case, minus k log isn't going to be x. X is going to be log of, oh gosh, log of x. This right here. Wait, what am I showing you? Yes. That is my value of x. Why is that my value of x? Well, I cannot find minus k log. I need log of a number. So that's why I asked you to put it in a calculator. So say k is 1 minus 1 log. That's going to give you an error because you need to find log of a number, right? So just remember that. In this case, x, the value of x. So what I would be plotting on the x-axis is log of x. Everybody good with that?
Yes, miss. I understand that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and that's why I need to show you this one thing. Hold on, let me just show you this one thing. Uh, so remember that's why I waited until just now until now to show you, right? Remember we said, hold on, that's this one. B to the power of x. This in linear form is this, right? Log of y is equal to x log b plus log of a, right? We said when we given this form, this is the linear form, right? The linear form is in yellow. And this is y. That's y. M. We said x is x. And this is c, right? Okay. That's what we said before. But what I need you to note is that for the other one, so that was for when x is the power, right? But what happens when x is the base? We said when x is the base, so I have ax to the power of b. We said that the linear form is this. Log of y is equal to b log of x plus log of a. If I wanted to identify y, m, x, and c, y is the log of y, so this is still my y. This is still c. However, this is where it's different. This right here, log of x, this is my x. and B is my gradient. I only waited until now to show you so you could see it for yourself, right? Instead of me just telling you, you actually saw it for yourself. So for this one, where X is the base, log of X is A, and B is the gradient. Unlike the other one, where X was, well, X, and M was log of B. You understand that? That's the difference between this one and the other one. Everybody good with that?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Reese.
Okay, so just remember that, right? I want you to see it for yourself instead of me just telling you. You actually saw it for yourself in that past paper. Okay, so back to that past paper question.
Excuse Miss. We have 6 more minutes remaining.
Everybody has access to these past papers, right? Posted it on Google Classroom. Yeah, I realize I was muted after. Thanks. Okay, so they asked me to plot this graph now. But what exactly am I plotting? Well, we said y, what we're plotting on the y-axis is log of p, because we said log of p is equal to y, right? Remember when doing graphs, y goes here, x goes here. So we said log of p is y, and log of x is what I would place on the x-axis. It gave us some values here. So just scrolling up a bit. So yeah, just ignore those things there. Right. Just scrolling up a bit. They gave us these values, right? They gave us these values of x and gave us the value of p. So what do you do with these values? Well, we know what we're plotting on the y-axis is log of p. So what you're going to do, you see all these values of p that they gave you? In order to find out what values you need to plot on the y-axis, well, we said on the y-axis, we plot in log of p, right? So the values that you're going to plot on the y-axis would be log of this 121.5, then you would find what log of 110.6 is, so on and so forth, right? So you find a log of those p values. And you see all those values that you get, that's what you're plotting on your y-axis. Everybody following so far?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss.
Yes, Miss. So I got 2.08 for the log 121.5.
Yeah. So that's what you got from 121.5. Cool. And you will continue that for all of these. And those are the values you're plotting on your y-axis. Same thing for the x. We said what we're plotting on the x-axis is x is equal to log of x, right? So all the values we plotting on the x-axis, it's this. So they told us that log is x is 1.58. So log of 1.58, you would find what log of 2.51 is, etc. They find log of all those x values, and you see those values that you get, that's what you plot in on your x. Okay, everybody following that so far?
Yes,
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 miss.
miss.
Okay.
Should we run off or make it stay there?
Yeah. You have to well, this is actually a physics thing, this is not really a math thing, but you see how this has so for physics, you see how all of these values have three significant figures. Log of x should also be three significant figures. And then this one, you see four significant figures here, right? But if you try to plot a graph with four significant figures, actually no, that would be okay for this in this case.
Excuse me,
But
miss, we have less than a minute.
okay. Leave and rejoin.